Hello, welcome to the Center for Magnetic Resonance Research. I'm Patrick Bolin. I'm an associate professor here in the Department of Radiology and also with a graduate faculty appointment in biomedical engineering. Unfortunately, we can't take everybody around on a tour to the CMRR, but we have some really neat equipment. This is a great place to work, lots of cool stuff, lots of great projects, and I want to give you a quick tour of some of our instruments and give you a sense of what this place sort of looks like. So let me show you around here a bit. The Center for Magnetic Resonance has been around since about the 90s, and in these years we've done a lot of work developing methods and instrumentation for high field magnetic resonance imaging. A lot of the work really has been and focused on high field MR scanners, so stronger than the 1.5 Tesla and 3 Tesla clinical scanners you have, and also in developing methods for neuroimaging very high field. These are a couple of our antique retired systems that sort of exemplify some of the contributions we've made. Over here is a 4 Tesla scanner that was used to do the first human functional MRI studies. Functional MRI has been a really revolutionary technique that helps you image. It's sensitive to blood flow and blood oxygenation, so you can give somebody a task and image their brain and find out what parts of the brain are being used for that task. And that's had a huge impact on neuroscience and psychology and psychiatry applications. This system over here is the world's first whole body 7 Tesla scanner. We installed that back in '98. We retired it just this year in 2020. And we now have two of them since then. So we've done a lot of the pioneering work on this 7 Tesla scanner, and 7T, in large part because of the work that we developed here and contributing to 7T technology, is now a clinical platform. So there's about probably 50 of these 7T clinical scanners out in the world right now. And a lot of it is because of the work we did on that system, and the other ones I'm going to show you in just a minute. So this lab does really a mix between the basic research, basic neuroimaging research, and basic sort of instrumentation development, as well as clinical work. And so I'm going to start over on the clinical side and show you some of those systems and talk about some of those applications. Within the CMRR, we have a sub-center called the Center for Clinical Imaging Research. And inside the CCIR, we're able to do clinically oriented scans that we can bill insurance for as part of regular patient care. So we have certified MR technologists and PET technologists to do official scans. We can bill people's insurance, and we can do a neat type of study, sort of like a hybrid research study, where, for example, I work on breast cancer quite a bit, and so we'll have breast cancer patients who are getting treatment, and they're going to get their regular MRI scans, and we might consent them to, at the end of their clinical scan, add another 15 minutes to do a novel diffusion or spectroscopy scan, which is the type of thing I work on. So this type of hybrid scanning, a clinical research scanning, is really critical, and the CCIR within the center enables us to do this kind of thing. In the CCIR, we have 2 3 Tesla scanners. So this is a commercial, state-of-the-art 3 Tesla whole body scanner. And we have 2 of them here, 3T A and B we call them. We also have a PET CT scanner that we can use for the same type of work. So I mentioned the breast types of studies, but we also do prostate studies where we mix clinical and research together under IRB consent, musculoskeletal studies, and a variety of neuroimaging studies, brain glioma, muscular sclerosis, and a lot of deep brain stimulator placements for treating Parkinson's and other movement disorders. So there's a wide variety of these hybrid research clinical scans that are very exciting. It's one of the things I'm very interested about. That's kind of the core of what we do here in the CCIR part of the scanner. We have actually 3 of these 3T state-of-the-art clinical scanners. 2 of them are these CCIR hybrid clinical research, which are still about 80% research, really mostly. And then we have one that's completely dedicated for specific head imaging projects on the other side of the building. This is our second 7 Tesla scanner. We call it the 7T-AS for actively shielded. It's our basically an upgraded version of the 7 Tesla I showed you out in the courtyard today. This one we use for a lot of engineering development. When you go from 3 Tesla to 7 Tesla, actually getting radio frequency excitation into the object, the thing you're scanning, it gets quite a bit trickier. So instead of using a single channel of RF transmit, we often have to use an array of transmitters. So that means more sophisticated RF coils that we put on the subject, RF amplifiers that we use in the backroom to generate that energy, and a lot of computational work to figure out how to adjust the parallel transmit arrays to get that working. So we use the system for a lot of great research, relatively with simple approaches for neuroimaging, but when we get to the body, we have to do a lot of this engineering work to really go to parallel transmit. And that will benefit neuroimaging as well too, because we can get better excitations if we do these hard engineering types of projects. So that's the 7T-AS. This system is our third 7 Tesla scanner. It's a whole body system. It's known as a Siemens Magnetom Terra. And this is the first model that's clinically available that's approved by the FDA for some clinical indications. We can use this for neuroimaging, we can also use it for knee imaging, and also sodium imaging in the brain. As you can see, it's not done, they're still installing it here, but it's on its way and we expect it to be ramped up very soon, so we can begin doing, like some of the other 3T systems, a mix of both research studies and clinical studies at 7T. So this is really the cutting edge of clinical MRI scanning. This scanner is our 10.5 Tesla whole body scanner. It's currently the most powerful whole body MR system in the world. We use it now for initial studies in neuroimaging and body imaging. We're working very carefully with the FDA because the FDA considers anything 8 Tesla and below to be non-significant risk. This is above that, so we're being extra careful to make sure there's no additional physiologic effects or other safety issues as we scan at high fields. One of the reasons I did mention, one of the reasons we're going to high field all the time is as you increase field strength, you get a couple benefits. Well, the most important one probably is the increased signal to noise. So as you go up to higher fields, 7 and even to 10.5, we get a lot of signal to noise, and we can use that in order to scan at higher resolutions or scan faster, for example. So we can use SNR to burn like cache to get better data in a lot of different ways. That's one of the main reasons we actually do all this work at these very high field systems. So we're still exploring this one. This is an experimental type system. We're not doing clinical on this anytime soon, but a lot of good neuroimaging work and a lot of basic engineering and safety studies that are very active here. This is our 4 Tesla whole body scanner. It's more, as you can see, it's more of an experimental system. We have the covers off, and we can do a lot of improvisational stuff with it, some interesting engineering. Currently, it's not actually 4 Tesla. We ramped it down to 1.5 Tesla, so we could do some experiments exploring what you could do with cheaper, lower field magnets, and trying to actually image in the very inhomogeneous fields that are at the mouth of one of these scanners. So this is another example of a very basic type of system that we can really improvise and get under the covers with and do more fundamental engineering type projects. This is our 16.4 Tesla animal system we have here. We also have a 9.4 T animal system just down the hall. These systems are predominantly used for small animal imaging and neuroimaging predominantly as well. So mouse, rats, and some larger animals that have a little more complex brains for advanced neuroimaging types of studies. So that's a quick tour of the Center for Magnetic Resonance Research and some of the instruments that we have here. If you're interested in this kind of work, I encourage you to look on the website and try and find some of the faculty who are in radiology at the Center for MRI Research and also affiliated with biomedical engineering. There's about a dozen of us that have BME students and work on various projects. Some of us are working on more clinical applications or programming the scanners with new types of sequences and acquisitions and reconstructions. Some of us are doing image analysis, and some of us are doing the engineering work to try and get those high field systems going. Some of us are also working on advanced imaging applications and really pushing the limits on what we can see in the brain. So I would encourage you to look at our website, cmrr.umn.edu. Find faculty that look interesting. We don't keep our websites very current, but look for faculty names and go to pubmed.org or pubmed.gov and search for what kind of work people are doing most recently. That's a good way to get started. And if you have any questions, you can contact me, Pat Boland. You can find me on the website or ask Sarah through the BME department for some contacts. Good luck with your search.